On this new moon in Pisces episode of Spelling the HEKA-TEA with Marcus and Evan, we of course have Witchcraft in the news as always, and then it is our main topic, dating whilst witchy.
Because what could ever be more terrifying?
Ain't that the truth? Next, we have SpellCraft. Then it is our Chilling Adventures of Sabrina rewatch. And lastly, we have a Witchy Media review, the 2026 newly released documentary, The Last Sacrifice, the chilling true story that influenced not only The Wicker Man, but so many other folk horror films of the 70s, 80s, and even today. So join us. Hey witches, blessed new moon in Pisces, and welcome to an all-new episode of Spelling the HEKA-TEA with Marcus and Evan. I am Marcus James, author, activist, witch, and a very proud and very defiant homosexual.
And I am Evan Freeman Casey. I am a legal assistant, a fiction editor, a witch, and a big old lipstick lesbian, now until the day I die.
If you are new here, welcome. We are so happy to have you. If you are returning, if you are a returning champion, because we are a lot,
we are.
Welcome back. And no matter what, if you like what you see, please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, hype, and share, and help us to continue to build our beautiful, magical, subversively wonderful, baneful, and blessed coven right here in our corner of the circle.
Where we are two homos, one cauldron, and it is a spellbindingly good time as always.
Absolutely, rootin' tooty, fresh and fruity. Again, on that, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Just a reminder, we are independent news media. We are not bought, sold, owned by advertisers or anything like that. We don't answer to anybody. This is just us doing this because we have a passion for fashion, an even greater passion for witchcraft, and an even greater love for our gods, goddesses, spirits, ancestors, and all of our witches, past and present, who have made it possible for us to even have a fucking morning show for witches, by witches.
Hell yeah.
So please support us, spread the word, share the love. That is the best thing that you can do for us right now. And then once we get a Patreon up and going, if anything, like we said, just to fund the delicious witch segments, just to buy the groceries at this point.
Exactly.
Greatly appreciated, and we will have that up soon, and more information on how to join and what awesome things happen if you join. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We are here.
We are.
And there's been a lot going on in the world.
Yes.
Christian nationalism, Christian Zionism, the Zionist agenda in general have all coalesced, as we know, to create a holy war in the Middle East. This is terrifying, and we've also, the thing we've been literally warning you about since season one.
Season 1, episode 1.
Yeah, that's season 1, episode 1. That this is the reality of what's going to be happening in our country, and not great to be right, but we were right. And witches, gird your loins. Mm-hmm. Gird your fucking hearths and home, your coven steads, your witchcraft shops, your festivals. You need to start preparing and freaking knowing your rights, understanding your rights under the law. So when they start coming for unchristian, anti-Christian, heathenistic things, you know where you stand and you know what can be done and cannot be done to you. We are not trying to fearmonger.
No.
But this is the reality of what is happening. We are not on the precipice of fascism. We are in it. This is how it looks, what it looks like once it's taken over in its early stages. It is a slow-moving coup in a gazillion different ways that takes a fucking minute. But make no mistake, we are in it. And those concentration camps that are being built, those internment camp warehouses being built, it's not just for fucking immigrants.
No.
They're talking about fucking people with disabilities, people who, if they can't find work, finding another way for them basically to earn their keep. Like, this is all language that has happened and continues to happen in the higher echelons of the fucking White House. Get it together, witches. Get it together, pagans, heathens, fucking mystics, fucking everybody, magicians. Get your shit together. Okay? Get it together. Be warned and be prepared. Anyway. Enough with that.
Don't we need a sip of this tea?
HEKA-TEA be with me. Jesus Christ. All right. On to Witchcraft in the News. And I will be kicking us off. Wonderful, amazing witch and pixie bright girl, Florence Welch of Florence and the Machine, has bought
love her.
Yes, has bought a 1.9 million pound Somerset estate, and it may be haunted. Yes, so it's been waiting. She purchased it and has been waiting to move in for the last 4 years, but she was doing major renovations to the estate. So the plans show that Welch, 38, she's younger than me. Wow. Was not expecting that.
I actually thought she was a bit older.
Same. Intends not any negative about her.
No,
I always just thought she was older than me.
I know. I'm about to be 36 shortly, and I would not have guessed she and I were that close to the same age.
No. But I also think when people are like super famous and they like don't have all the time, well, I think it makes them always appear more old, like more mature, older than they actually are. It's how we perceive.
I think she also has one of those faces that she just looks a bit older.
Yes, she does. She has a wizened face, and I don't think she'd be offended by that. Actually,
I think she would
take that as a compliment.
And certainly
because she's still beautiful.
Oh yeah,
like,
certainly not intended.
She looks older.
Yes, like certainly not intended derogatorily at all. It's just she certainly has one of those faces, but she is nonetheless a gorgeous lady.
Yes.
And a wonderful witch.
Yes.
I could go on.
So anyway, there's 4 separate buildings on the property, and she intends to reunify them. And they have been used as separate homes since the 1940s. And she bought the final building on the estate in 2023. No neighbors have objected to the plans, but they could disturb a former occupant on the property, namely a ghost. According to the local folklore, there is a specter of a gray lady who has been spotted on the historic property.
Ooh.
So the eerie female figure has been seen there since the 1970s, according to one book that exists about local legends in the area. It's not known whether she was aware of the Gray Lady haunting the estate, but she is obviously known to be in touch with her spiritual side. The songwriter, of course, in her music has explored the supernatural, and she found salvation after a breakup in returning to the occult, witchcraft, and pagan practices. So obviously, if it's haunted, as most of us witches feel, yay.
Exactly.
What do you mean there's no ghost in this house? I don't want it. So she said, I spent a lot of time in front of books and old historic buildings convinced that ghosts were real, vampires existed, and having a really heightened sense of those type of things happening around me. She spoke with and told Vice in 2015. So she even started a witch coven in her school. Of course she did. Me and my 2 friends made these spell books where we would try to do spells on our classmates, she told them. Perhaps having a supernatural presence will be a bonus for her. She's previously refused to define her spirituality, but says her mother, who is the vice chancellor of Bristol University, Evelyn Welch, has labeled her an animist, which is another form of, as we know, pagan, naturistic alternative beliefs. An animist believes that objects, places, and creatures all possess a distinct spiritual essence. She says her earliest spiritual moment came to her as a child in Camberwell, South London, where she grew up and still lives, which was according to an interview she did in the New York Times Style edition in Australia. She says that she remembers just looking at beams of light coming through her bedroom window and feeling connected to something larger. So the estate dates back to the 12th century and sits on 1.2 acres of land. It has outbuildings and landscaped gardens and a quiet Somerset village. The property has 60 rooms across 3 floors, as well as a scullery, a grand hall, and a swimming pool and a folly. Right? And says she has submitted 6 planning applications for her new home since she began buying up the property and the land, all which are approved or pending approval. And yeah, so that is amazing.
That is amazing. How exciting for her. Okay, so next I have a little bit of a census tidbit for you. So witchcraft and paganism is actually growing quite a bit in Maine, of all places.
Oh, that's surprising.
I know. But recent data from the Pew Research Center, which clearly is about religion of all types, shows that 4% of Mainers identified as either pagan or Wiccan in 2023 to 24, which makes it the highest proportion of any U.S. state.
That is really, really
I know.
cool.
So that
and you're like 3 or 4%, because remember, Maine doesn't have a huge population to begin with. So 3 to 4% based on their average of population makes it
quite significant.
The significant and biggest in one state in the country.
Yeah.
That's why. Now remember, it's not always how big the state is or how many people, but the percentage relative to the per capita.
Yeah. Which actually was double the amount from the previous Q survey that was conducted 10 years prior.
Oh, wow.
So they are seeing quite an explosion of pagan faith, which I love.
Yeah.
And so they're also seeing right now a declining interest in Christianity up in Maine. So yay.
Squish, squish.
I know. Of course, a lot of that goes to the lack of doctrine within most pagan faiths, contrasting with the excess of doctrine in Abrahamic faiths,
right?
Which appeals to a lot of people who were raised within a Christian or Judeo-Christian context and later left the faith, but didn't feel like they were done with religion in general,
right?
You know, so researchers like Marilyn Pukila, apologies if I mispronounced your name if you're watching this, Marilyn. She is a research librarian at Colby College and an eclectic pagan.
Oh, hi, witch.
Hi.
Well, pagan, it's not a witch.
Right.
You identify specifically as eclectic pagan. So, apologies.
Hi, pagan.
Hi, pagan. Hello, fellow pagan.
High pagan doesn't have the same ring to it as high witch, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she attributes the growth in part to second wave feminist movement of the 1960s and 70s, where many were interested in the idea of the feminine goddess at the center of Wicca, and in the independent nature of rituals, which attracted both women and LGBTQ people who felt that they had been shut out by Christianity.
Yes.
Helen Berger, who is a sociologist of modern paganism, echoed this explanation, describing a movement away from organized religion and towards nature-based spirituality, fueled by both feminist and gay rights movements, as well as environmental concerns, which I think is absolutely true. I agree with that completely. So during the 70s and 80s, many pagans either belonged to or were trained in a coven. However, since the 1990s and the advent of the internet, solitary practitioners have become more common. And Berger said that she believes this is what accounts for the growth in Maine, where much of the population lives in more rural areas.
Oh, yeah.
Where they may not have access to join a coven.
Right.
Recently, videos of witches on TikTok and other social media platforms have also driven an interest in pagan practices in Maine, which again kind of goes to a lot of Maine being very rural, and you kind of do have to rely on the internet and social media to explore those things.
Right, exactly.
So I think that's great. Circe Moss McDonald, who is a spiritual director at Portland New Church and who also practices a form of nature-based spirituality, but she does not identify as pagan, said she has also noted an increase in pagan adherence during her 9 years with the organization. So it just very much seems like it is seeing a resurgence and a return to the gods in Maine, and I think that is so wonderful. So yay, Maine!
Congratulations, Maine. You're doing the right. We love you, and you're doing the right thing.
Exactly. We may not visit for a very long time, but we love you.
All right. So, on to some very dark news, related news. This is related to Epstein. So, just putting that out there. So, unfortunately, a new satanic panic has swept the world as Epstein has been linked to a demon in a disgusting theory.
I think I know what this is.
Yeah. So, of course, as we know, there's kind of a fresh wave of satanic panic going on around the world as conspiracy theorists are talking about demons, usually by all, pulling the strings of the global elites and the Illuminati, the one eye or whatever the fuck God did. I don't know. And now with the Epstein files release, people online have linked Jeffrey Epstein to Baal. I'm not going to say demonic figure, which is what this article is claiming, because Baal was not a demonic figure; he was a god. So I'm not going to be disrespectful like that. Obviously, this was written by a Christian or some other Abrahamic idiot, with the claims that were fueled by a viral misreading of a financial document that was released as part of the dump. So Richard Raiswell, who was a history and classics professor, and also is an expert in the devil in Western culture and Western society at the University of Prince Edward Island, has said that we are undergoing a bit of a satanic renaissance, which is an easy way, he said, to sort of try to sort of explaining individual misfortune. And societies really reach for that when things are in great upheaval. Of course, he said that relying on demons as an explanation for such evil would be pathetic if it wasn't so disgusting, which I completely agree with. The professor has said that he has witnessed a first-hand exorcism, says that it echoes previous phases that have broken out across the globe. The belief that global elites are being ruled by some demonic or sinister cabal obviously differs from like what happened during the satanic panic of the 80s and 90s, where it was rock bands and musicians being accused of grooming children into Satan with their music, and play this record backwards and you hear Satan, Satan, Satan on the Motley Crue album or whatever. But this is all stuck in the same thing. And of course, children have always been the catalyst for this kind of language. Unfortunately, the whole Pizzagate thing was around an LGBTQ queer-owned pizza parlor in Washington, D.C. that was an inclusive pizza parlor owned by a gay man, and the staff was queer, and some right-wing asshole, conspiracy theorist, Christian nutter took that as there was some adrenochrome cabal going on in this pizza place because Hillary Clinton went in there for a pizza or whatever and was photographed, and that means she was going to get her adrenochrome injections in the basement or whatever bullshit.
Maybe she just wanted a pepperoni. Right,
exactly. So there was a scanned document in the files where a line intended for a bank's name appeared to read Baal, B-A-A-L .name. So experts identified this as a clerical scanning error, but conspiracy theorists, of course, are seizing upon it as proof that Epstein named a bank account after Baal, and who, for the article's credit, they do mention who went from whose role shifted from a life-giving storm god to a symbol of ultimate evil in Western demonology. And we know why this was, because Baal kicked Jesus's ass, or not Jesus, excuse me, Yahweh's ass. Yahweh went to go pick a fight, and they were like, God, can you do that? Like, that's not on your soil. Because Yahweh in the Bible confirms there are many gods, and that all the gods are assigned their land, their sovereign soil, and their power stems from their sovereign soil. Now, yes, that also includes their people. Their people are their sovereign kin. So in that sense, if your population moves someplace else, then you do have power there because people from your land are there. So, but in the Bible, Yahweh goes to pick a fight with Baal, one storm god to another, one war god to another, and Baal was like, back up, bitch, and fucking kicked his ass because he was on his fucking property. And Baal was like, get off my lawn, Yahweh, and kicked his ass back to fucking Palestine.
Exactly. I mean, we all know which storm god was more powerful, just saying.
Or for those of you who might want to come at me, Judea. But I'm not going to call it Judea because it was the land of Canaan, and it encompassed a lot of shit. So, apparently... Is
it known yet what the actual word was that people thought was Baal?
We'll see. I don't think so. But so he had a private island called Little St. James, which featured a blue and white striped building, which online they have dubbed the Temple of Moloch, with allegations of child sacrifice happening in there. So Professor Raiswell continued that the reason people use the devil in Satanism is because it's ready and it's very easy. The classic example is, why do bad things happen to me? Basically, I'm a decent person, yet my crops have died. Or my neighbor over the road, his crops are doing fine. Well, maybe I've been cursed, or maybe some demons are acting out on me. So it's a very easy way of sort of explaining an individual misfortune, as we know. The devil's tricks, of course, are always limited, he added, because and he always does the same sort of thing, which is true. And he concluded that, it's ultimately the same stuff that we were accusing witches of in the 16th century, and it's the same stuff that we were accusing witches of in the 1980s. Right. And now it's the same thing we're doing today. Addressing real-world horrors, like the Epstein case, he said that unfortunately humanity has a very high ability to be exceptionally vile to other people, and it's hard for us to accept that. But these things don't require the presence of some demon or some ancient Canaanite god to be the explanation. And honestly, he says relying on demons as the explanation would be pathetic if it wasn't so disgusting, to reiterate, because it's absolute crap. It's been widely disproven that there is no demonic control of some global elites. It's just, that's not. It's greed. And Christian nationalism and prosperity gospel started in the 1850s or 60s. And this preacher whose name escapes me right now, but I will flash his name here, basically says he got called to God to preach and minister, but not to the poor and the needy and the less fortunate, but to the very, very wealthy, the robber barons of the Gilded Age. The prosperity gospel that ran the ideas of Vanderbilt and Carnegie. This was all then and there. And that's all this is. And that is the real cabal. The real evil is Wall Street. Wall Street. It's the corporations. It's just wealthy, powerful people bored with life. And when they have the money and funds to have access to do whatever they want, whenever they want, eventually those normal things don't fill their hole anymore. And especially if you're a billionaire, you stepped and crushed a lot of people and destroyed a lot of people to become that. So by the time you're there, your soul is fucking gone. And by then, you're willing to do even more depraved fucking things. It's not a demon. It's not some outside fucking shit. It's not some evil. It's just humanity. That's the worst evil of them all. But also, if applied, some of the best good. All right.
All right. Also, Bayal is sitting there like, I literally was just making it rain for you.
I know. It's just like, y'all come at me for kids. That was one outlying cult to me that was doing that shit. That was not like my wide practice. Like,
now you're calling me the devil.
He's like, I don't even know him. And which one?
Right. So on to some other not so fun news.
As it goes.
ChatGPT is driving a rise in reports of satanic, organized, and ritual abuse.
What the fuck?
Or so says some UK experts.
Okay.
So say some UK experts.
Okay, according to UK experts.
Let me speak correctly.
Okay.
So apparently, police say that organized and ritual abuse and, quote, witchcraft, spirit possession, and spiritual abuse against children is underreported in the UK. There is no modern-day charge that covers it specifically. But such offending is typified by sexual abuse, violence, and neglect involving ritualistic elements.
Okay.
There have been 14 UK criminal cases since 1982 in which ritualistic practices and sexual abuse were acknowledged. However, 2025 research by clinical psychologist Dr. Ellie Hansen found convictions reflected the tip of the iceberg, as she said.
Oh God, okay.
So,
this feels very 1980s to me.
Very much. So, Gabrielle Shaw, who is the chief executive of the National Association for People Abused in Childhood, or NAPAC, said that there had been a sustained rise in reports of ritual abuse over the past 18 months, with an increasing number of people saying they had been led to report by AI.
Oh, okay.
Because apparently people are using ChatGPT as like a therapist.
Right.
So they are now getting people contacting the NAPAC support line saying, I was referred to you as by ChatGPT.
Okay.
Yeah, so people are using ChatGPT and other AI as forms of therapy and exploration, which, okay. But, if it's a route into support, fine. But she said that they would normally see spikes in calls around days that have significant religious overtones, but she said this was not a spike so much as a sustained rise in reports. She said that in the increasing knowledge of these crimes that she's seen Satanism come up often. So last year, members of a pedophile ring in Scotland who posed as witches were jailed for sexual offenses. Again, no evidence that they actually were witches.
No, they posed as witches. Do you guys see what is happening here? Do you see what is happening? We are being set up right now.
Absolutely.
We are being set up because it will always come down. You have to remember, for Christians, for them, the war is and always has been Christians versus pagans.
Yes.
Their war is with paganism. They're doing it now. They're literally writing books on it, like in The Pagan Threat.
Yep.
Erica Kirk is running around, running her mouth about demonic forces and paganism, etc., and witchcraft. The vice president, fucking everybody is fucking doing it. The Epstein shit. The conspiracies about that now, leaning into fucking Satanism. Well, we know that in the Christian mind, in the Abrahamic mind, witchcraft, paganism, Wicca, Satanism, Judaism, they're all the same. It's all the same to them.
Yes.
We are being actively set up.
Yes. not much else to get into on this story, but it just kind of seems like there are like facts and statistics that she is and others are framing in a way that shifts the blame onto pagans, where it's not.
What I find interesting isn't this piece, so this is, let me try to re-clarify what I feel like this is being said. People are using ChatGPT as a therapist.
Right.
They're talking about shit that happened to them in childhood, etc. to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is turning around telling them that they were abused by Satanists.
Right.
That they
and
were,
to call
and that they need to call NAPAC and report this. And people are in a AI psychosis.
Yes.
And so they believe that what AI is telling them is true. I'm not saying their abuse wasn't real, but that it was just probably normal childhood abuse in the sense of that there was no satanic witchcraft religious extra behind it. It was just your plain fucking gross evil depravity of adults abusing children.
Right.
Because they're just fucking sick in the head.
Exactly.
That's it. But ChatGPT is sourcing the internet and finding what I think is happening, because you gotta remember, it's sourcing the World Wide Web all at once, right? I think what's happening is it is going and pulling articles, pulling fucking news reports and shit from the 80s that match what is being described, and so it is taking from that knowledge and then coming back and saying, "Hey, it was satanic abuse. You were abused by witches, and it was all this shit." Because that is how it works. It searches the internet and pulls in an instant from all the shit. It reads in a nanosecond all this fucking shit, and it's not considering context. So I don't think it's necessarily going, "Oh, this was from 1980, and this is satanic panic, and this was seen as bullshit." It's just this person described this, and bing, 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 this is what matches this, and it says that it was this, boom, 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 you were abused in ritualistic satanic witchcraft shit, contact kneecap.
Right, kneecap.
I know that's not what they're called, but every time that you said their acronym, I've just been like, it's so close to kneecap.
But I also think like that some of the higher ups at NAPAC are interpreting what's being reported and inferring a satanic element that may not necessarily be there in the actual report.
Oh, for sure. You know? And that's also because you got to think about the rise of the Christian right and Christian nationalism,
and that's happened everywhere
in the UK. And the right wing, very Margaret Thatcher-esque again. And it's all we're just kind of repeating the 80s right now.
We really are. And not in the fun way.
Not in the fun way. And in a very dystopian, I mean, in a 1984 way.
Yes.
And we're reliving the hits of the 80s, and it's fucking crazy. And I think that there is an agenda. I agree. Absolutely. I think there is an agenda. There has been an agenda on the right to pin shit on us, because they're fucking coming for us. They're coming for us here, fucking coming for us in the UK, they're coming for us everywhere. They are coming for us. It's more hardcore here and more active here. But
it's happening
everywhere. It's happening everywhere. Look at Orthodox places in the East, which also, remember, we reported on the fact that what is influencing Gen Z and Gen Alpha, specifically in terms of Christian fundamentalism, is Eastern Orthodox Christianity, which very much heavily believes in fucking forces of apocalypse, fucking the Antichrist, fucking demons, possession, witches is real and evil and demonic. In Russia, in other places in the East, there are laws against practicing witchcraft. And we've reported on since season 1 several times on crackdowns of that happening in Eastern Europe. And that shit is spreading. So like, again, witches, buckle the fuck up.
Exactly. So yeah, there was that.
All right. Well, to end witchcraft in the news on a happy note, a pagan festival that is coming to Coventry in England is promising a witches' ball and a Viking feast, amongst other things. And the event has raised thousands for charities since its inception. A 3-day festival for pagans and witches has raised tens of thousands of pounds for charity, and it's set to return this May with a packed program of several events, activities, fun shit, food, etc. The 7th Festival of Witches and Pagans takes place near Coventry from May 2nd to the 4th. Oh, that's so wonderful. And is expected to attract thousands of people from across the UK. Founded by a Coventry-based coven in a bid to remove the taboo around witchcraft and paganism, the event has since been an annual hit with everyone, both with established witches and just people keen to learn more about it and curious villagers. Julie Aspinall, who is from the Coventry-based Coven of Gaia, who was one of the people covens who first launched the festival, said, "We're hugely proud of what we've created and the fact that as well as creating an inclusive, vibrant event for people from a whole range of backgrounds, we have raised enough money to make a huge difference to various charities. This year, we've got more workshops than ever and more on offer for children, cementing our reputation as a truly family-friendly event. We've also managed to keep our ticket prices exactly as they have been since the very beginning to ensure this remains accessible for everyone. We can't wait to welcome everyone back to what has become a highlight in so many people's calendars." The festival operates as a not-for-profit organization with regular donations to various charities. Last year's organizers donated more than £30,000 to 5 charities, including Coventry-based Suki's Canine Rescue Crew, Warwickshire Wildlife Trust, Pagan Aid, which combines pagan spiritual values with environmentalism to fight poverty, Pagan Seminary, and the Retreat Animal Rescue based in Kent.
Wow.
That is amazing.
That's wonderful.
This year's festival, which will return to the Heart of England Conference Centre in Meridian near Coventry, will build on the format of all the previous years and will include a witch's ball and a Viking feast, along with no fewer than 160 workshops covering everything from spellcraft and wand making to yoga, meditation, drum circle, storytelling, and more. Even more children's workshops have been added to the program.
That's so cool.
Including the chance to make dream catchers and flower pot witches, as well as book corners and coloring stations. And each day will include a ritual in the event's main arena for world peace. They're also going to do a belting ritual to mark May Day with a traditional maypole, and they'll be able to listen to talks on a range of subjects, experience pagan night rituals, and browse the market village. So if you are in Coventry or anywhere in the UK and you can make it to this and you watch the show, please tell us all about it.
Yes.
In the comments, DM us. Our links, they're right there at the beginning of the episode, and it'll flash again at the end. But yeah, let us know how it is. All right, we are done with Witchcraft in the news.
Yay for us.
I know there wasn't a whole lot of news, important news, and not great news. We started on a light note with Florence Welch,
yes,
and we ended on a great note. Yes. So at least we have that. But now it's time to go to our main topic.
Yes.
Dating Whilst Witchy. We kind of got into talking about the subject
a little bit
in the love episode.
But there was also so much to go over that we felt like it kind of bore a greater discussion that we did not have time for in that episode. So we decided that we would take this time to discuss it a little more in depth.
Yes. So again, this is not like one of those where we're going to have a bunch of research facts and statistics. That's not what this is about. It's just talking about this. We're just talking about the subject witch to witch, dating whilst witchy. What is the reality of that like? What are the difficulties? What are the rewards? Should you stick with your own kind, or can you date a Durwood?
Can you dip a toe into the non-sparkly pool?
Mm-hmm.
Not that a non-witch won't be sparkly if they're gay.
Right.
They'll still be sparkly, just in a different way.
Correct. But just what, in our experience, what has that been like? What do it seem like a lot of pagans and witches, people of alternative faith, especially within the realm of the occult and the left-hand path experience?
Yes.
So we just wanted to get into it. Now, for me, I have dated a lot. A lot of boys. And most of them were not pagans. Most of them were not witches. Most of them, no. Many of them were Christian. And I would say, out of the guys that I dated, I would say like a couple of them, maybe three, were truly cool with me being a witch, even though they were not. They would even be down to be like, oh, do a spell for me to get this new job or whatever. I'm going to this interview. Hey babe, can you do this for me? And I'd be like, sure. And even two of them, subsequently found paganism on their own, along with Tori Amos. Not on their own. I introduced them all to Tori if they didn't know who the fuck she fucking was. But one of them kind of got interested right away, and then but then the second one totally just on his own. I didn't even know until I was by his computer, and there was a stack of books, and I noticed a couple of witchcraft books sitting there, and then I was like, oh, what's this about? Did you always have these? And he was like, no, I just kind of got them maybe a month ago, and it was just oh, because nothing was said, but and then it was, well, I wanted to make sure that before I told you this was something that I was actively interested in wanting to do and was willing to stick with, because it's witchcraft. And there's dark forces and celestial forces and spiritual forces and magic and crazy shit that happens that you can't explain, and weird shit that happens. Like, we all know about, like, we all have, like, where we've done a spell and then as soon as we finish, like, the candles fucking go out, the wind comes at just this right time to fucking blow it out. We've all had that experience. You invoke and storms come, wind comes, and you're like, oh shit. Like, just the shit, you know, that you're just like, that was me, or that was deity, or that was the both of us, or so I, totally great. But, like, for the most part, I was always just a Samantha to the Darren.
Yes.
And yes, most of the time, it was very like, can you not do that? I understand that that's your belief system and that is your spiritual path, etc. I'm not asking you to stop believing anything that you believe or stop worship whoever you worship. Just don't do that. Don't actually light the candles. Don't actually cast the spells. Don't actually do the shit. So, yeah, and then there's guys I dated who, like, I think they suspected, but I just was like, I never actually told them.
Yeah.
And I never really talked about it. I kind of talk about witchcraft all the time now.
Yeah, I know.
But I used to not, only because I was always surrounded by non-witches. I was usually the only witch in the group. So I just wouldn't talk about it. And it was just something that, I would hold in my heart and actively whatever. And other times I was just in a really dark place, bad place. And even though I always knew I was a witch, and in times of duress, I would cast a spell to get me out of a jam. Otherwise, I never touched the stuff, and I didn't, and I worshipped in my heart and I prayed still, but I had no altars.
Right.
And I lit no candles and I had no icons and I had none of that. And now I look back on that as a very sad time in my life.
Yeah, I do too.
So, what is your experience with dating whilst witchy?
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, like you, I have dated a lot of people. I currently am still dating. I have dated, I don't know if I've ever actually dated a fellow witch. I'm trying to remember, but I don't think so.
There was that one girl
with
the kid, and she was going to have a crystal shop, or worked in a crystal shop, but then her dream was working at Starbucks.
Oh yeah, that's right. She was a witch. Oh my gosh, I
blanked her out.
Yeah, literally blanked her out.
See what happens? You piss her off, or you break her heart, you're erased. Erased from memory.
Exactly. Anyway, so yeah, she was also a pagan, although not incredibly active with her practice, as I recall. But she did have a lot of other stuff going on in her life.
Right.
I dated one girl for about a year who, dabbled. Yeah, was definitely a dabbler. She had altars, but inactive.
Never activated.
No. Was always kind of exploring different deities and different practices, but never really like solidified or stuck with anything. But I'm sure she would describe herself as a witch if you asked her.
Right.
But again, not very deep in her practice. And it always seemed like when we were together, because I am that way,
right.
It kind of seemed like, and this happened with multiple other things in life, not just witchcraft, but witchcraft was one of the things that that I noticed this with. It's that she would see me being very active in my practice, and then she would want to get into it, but she would kind of go for like the same deities that she knew that I was working with.
Oh yes.
Despite not really knowing or caring to learn much about them. So it always just kind of felt, I don't know, like forced, I guess, on her end. But I hope that she's found a comfortable place in her practice.
Yeah.
Not together anymore, but
what about in terms of obviously dating whilst witchy?
Yes. So I've
not witches.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So I've also dated, most of the people that I have dated have not been witches. Again, like you, I've had the experience of the non-witches I've been with seeing my power and asking me to do things for them. I've also had the experience of like my witchcraft kind of like scaring people away.
Yeah.
I'm actually dating someone new, very much kind of in the early talking stages, but so far it's going well. That being said, she's an atheist Satanist, but not a witch. So I am a witch and a polytheist, and I observe a lot of festivities regarding my days, and springtime is a big time for all of them. So I definitely have it in the back of my mind of like, is she gonna be like, okay, you're always in ritual, like we don't get to see each other, like bye, you know?
Right.
But that being said, that's not something that she has expressed, so that's probably something that's more so coming from like my own paranoia about it, based on like the experiences that I've had in the past.
Yeah.
So hopefully she does not feel that way, because I would really like to continue getting to know her. But yeah, it's definitely something that I have dealt with in the past from people. I don't cut off like the possibility of dating people who aren't witches.
Right, of course not.
I will say I'm at a place in my life just as such an active witch and a deep practitioner who works with my deities on a deep level. I will say I don't want to date people of the Abrahamic faith.
No.
But as long as they are not of that faith and they are accepting and potentially curious about my faith, I'm fine with dating them.
Right. I would say my other experience is how many times when I've had a relationship go south that the guy will accuse me of having cast a love spell on them.
I've had that happen to me too.
Especially if like they break up with you and then they want you back, and then the next time it happens, they claim that the reason they came back to you was because of a love spell.
Exactly.
I have literally, and then I'm going to be like, I have never cast a love spell on any dude that I've dated.
No.
Like, what? Like, especially once you're an adult, like, you're not, like, I didn't know you beforehand. Like, what the fuck? Like, why would I cast a love spell?
Exactly. I mean, have I asked my deities to, like, make me really alluring on a first date and have it go well? Yes, but, like, not a full-on love spell on someone.
No, God, no. Like, but that's always the reach, which pisses me off. Or if, like, shit goes south for them.
Or like in your relationship, things aren't doing well, and they feel overly intensely for you, and they're gonna blame that on like your witchcraft.
Yes. Or just like if things aren't going, like let's say we got into a fight, and because of the stress of the argument, they go to work the next day and they don't perform well because we've been fighting the night before or whatever, right? Little sleep, blah blah blah. Well, that could turn into I was angry with the fight, and so I cursed him the next day to have a bad day at work and like get in trouble with the boss or whatever because I'm a vindictive hexing cunt. Right. Like,
you're like, oh no, honey, if I want to be a vindictive hexing cunt, you'll know it, and it's not just going to be a bad day at work.
Yeah, no, and I don't need to do witchcraft. Like, everyone needs to know first and foremost, I have a very strong belief that actual spell casting and spell work and all that shit should be a last resort thing, or like if you have a big goal, big aim you're working towards, and you're like doing like one spell that you're constantly reinforcing to assist with that one thing, then that's the kind of constant spell work I'm okay with. Otherwise, I believe spell work should always be a last resort.
Yeah, an occasional thing.
Yes, I'm very much, we always joke that like I'm Sally from Practical Magic and she's the Jilly.
Yeah.
And it's because I am like Sally. I'm very like, no, we don't point, we don't cast, we don't meddle in people's love lives. Like,
and I'm like, we don't have a choice, Marcus. This is our choice.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, but that's exactly true. And so I firmly believe witchcraft last resort. Plus, it takes so much energy. It's all this shit. Like, it takes time. You have to set time aside. Like, it's just a lot of work. Like,
and you know, for me as a very devotional witch, like, am I in ritual a lot of the time? Yes, several times a week. However, that's focused on the act of devotion, not casting of a spell. And those are very different things.
Correct. I have 3 days a week, plus every 28th of the month, plus every new moon and full moon of the month, and plus days of the week. Like, it's a fucking, but it's all devotional.
Exactly. I have 3 or sometimes 4 days of the week, but I also observe all of their like festivities through the calendar for each of the deities.
Same, of course.
But that's all connected to the act of devotion. I very rarely cast a spell. It's always, if I do, it's for something that's incredibly important. Yeah. You know? And I know you're like that as well.
Yes.
So, I think it's definitely something that when you are dating, especially when you're dating someone who either is less devotional in their practice or they're not a witch at all, it's something that you do need to navigate as you build with them, especially in those early stages.
Yeah. Now, do I think as a witch it is preferable to date another witch, pagan, heathen, occultist, fuck Satanist, etc.? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I get a little with atheists because, they're atheists.
Right.
I more lean towards like a favor like an agnostic, because at least they're like open to the possibility and are like, there are forces and shit. But to also be fair, there are atheistic witches who just are like, I use my witchcraft. I don't tap into anything outside. I don't believe anything outside. So just in that regard, just find yourself a witch. In the end, I personally believe that when it comes to our path, it is better to be with someone else who is on a similar path.
Yeah.
Who is part of a similar club. Just because we're weird.
It's true.
We have altars, we do spells at night, we go out to the woods and do shit, we go to rivers, crossroads, cemeteries, we fucking bring in weird shit. We're weird. We're weird. We're weird.
Exactly. And we're very passionate.
In the best way about it. And that's the beauty of being a witch, of being a pagan, of being a heathen and occultist, is, especially once you're an adult, is that you get to be openly weird.
Yes.
And you don't have to apologize. So many of us maybe crafted in secret as children and couldn't really have altars out, or couldn't have, had to sneak it away. You had to hide your candles under the bed and then pull them out in the middle of the night and whisper your spells in the dark and blow them out quickly. And you were always like, once I'm an adult, I'm going to have a rug that's a pentacle. You were like, I'm going to fucking witch my house out, or my room out if I'm sharing a house with roommates or whatever, right? And whatever your situation is, you're like, I'm going to be openly witchy. I'm going to have my altars out. I'm going to fucking blah. It's easier if it's another person who understands that and doesn't raise an eyebrow to it, but instead goes, I've never heard about powwow before. Let me read about that. Right. You know what I mean? And then you look at their shit and you're like, I've never learned about Hermeticism before. Let me look at that.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of versus So just things to think on and consider. Let us know in the comments what is your experience like? What are your relationships like? Are you the Samantha in a relationship with a Darwin? I almost said Durwood. I keep wanting to say Durwood because I'm always Agnes Moorehead. I will always be Andorra.
Or are you a Zelda and Hilda in my alternate universe where they are lesbians?
Correct. Let us know in the comments. All right. Well, that was fun.
That was fun.
Next up, of course, we're going to be scampering off to doing some SpellCraft. But before we do that, it's just one of those episodes we warned you about in the first episode of season 2, which is sometimes in life, scheduling, filming, and daylight savings time get in the way of your schedule.
And sometimes my tablet jumps off of the table, and that also gets in the way.
Yes. So as such, we felt that we need to refresh ourselves and have a bit of a costume change. All right, so costume change complete. And I love your outfit.
Oh, thank you. I love yours too.
Thanks. All right, so now that the costume change is out of the way, it's time to get into some SpellCraft. And of course, since we were talking about dating and dating whilst witchy, sometimes we need a little help to find the perfect mate.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you think, okay, I'm going to have to go to maybe if I really have to get some help beyond just doing a regular spell, I'm going to have to go to a deity of love or something, and that's how it's going to be, and that's how I'm going to resolve my situation, yada, yada, yada. Not true. There is someone, hopefully, for most people, depending on where you live, but for most people, some form, variation, breed of a willow tree around. So what you need, well, it's not this book. I mean, this book is great. It's Witchcraft In Demonology. And it's an old book, very old, wonderful, musty, beautiful witchcraft book that we have used a couple of times. But, it's got some older spells in it. So it's like,
it has been a minute since we've used it last, though.
It's true. The last time was when we taught you guys how to send the sending of 8 to handle any Abrahamics that get out of that.
Exactly.
But this is a willow tree spell. Ooh. So I will tell you the instructions, and then we'll have a van read the spell. So what you're going to do is on a Friday morning at 8 a.m., when the moon is waxing, all right, you're going to go out with a red ribbon and a bouquet of roses, and you're going to find a willow tree. And you are going to divide, so get a bouquet, 12, and divide that, so 6 represent a little bouquet, represent you, a little bouquet represents your future ideal partner, mate, etc. You're going to take that red ribbon, you are going to tie each rose on either side of the willow tree. So on one side of the willow tree, and then directly on the opposite side of the willow tree, we'll have the other one. And then you're going to wrap your ribbon around that. Wrap it together. And then you're going to, while you're doing, you're going to chant the following charm as you do. And you're going to want to tie it 3 times. You're going to do it 3 times. And as you're doing, you're going to chant 3 times.
Okay. Let's find out what we're chanting.
Right there.
Many earths on earth there be, whom I love mine own shall be. Grow, grow, willow tree, sorrow none unto me. He the ox, I the helve, he the cock, I the hen, as my will, so mote it be.
Da, da, da. So you're going to do that 3 times, and then you're going to leave it. You're going to come back for 3 consecutive Fridays at 8 a.m. while the moon is in waxing, going to full, and you're going to say it every single time. Yeah, obviously you can turn some things. You could be like, he's the cock, I'm the rooster, or you could be like, she's the hen, I'm the
egg.
I'm the egg, I am the other hen, or however you want to word it, because obviously if you're not looking for a man and you're not a lady, like you're not the hen, but you could still, like I said, be like, he's the cock, I'm the rooster, like, you know, like, so you could just tailor it. But yeah, very easy, but you're initiating the power of the willow tree to spread its roots and connect to all the other willow trees and send the love to you. Now, theoretically, then you two will, upon the meeting, will eventually meet at that willow tree. But in this day and age, you know, you can't hope for miracles on that. Right. But they're also going to appear at the tree.
Maybe you'll plan your first date to be a picnic under the willow tree.
Exactly. So, but very simple, and you are asking for higher help in your spell work, but from the tree spirits, from the willow tree. So I just thought that was a fun little spell. So that way you can maybe bypass all the dating whilst witchy nightmares that we just discussed.
Exactly.
Oh, another one though that I didn't mention is when the person you're dating is actually totally cool with the fact that you're a witch, but their family isn't. And so they like treat you like you are like the second coming of Satan.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, nightmare. So yeah, you want to avoid all that. Just ask the help of a willow tree and a dozen roses and some red ribbon. I prefer like a nice satin crimson ribbon because it's just luscious and luxurious, and the most blood red roses I can find. I feel like perfect. But you can really use any. I know that there is like flower magic and carnations represent this thing, and red roses are for this, and pink roses for this, white for this, blah 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 blah. But I think that since this is about finding your perfect mate, your perfect match, like I think it's important that it should still be roses.
Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like it should be whatever color or kind of rose speaks to you, because it's about you. And so as unique as your interest in a particular rose, so should you be that interest of that particular person, and they should be drawn to your particular fragrance.
Exactly.
So I personally say keep it a rose, but whatever color or type of rose is your favorite, that's the one you should use, because that's going to best represent you and the perfect person who's going to want to be with you for you.
Exactly. Also, I must say, gotta warn y'all, willow trees are very, very incredibly sacred to Hera, so don't play around with this spell because you might just get a husband or wife.
It's true, and it's actually sacred to many a marriage deity.
Yes,
in Ireland and Scotland as well.
I'm just mentioning that because that's who I work with.
Correct. Yes, but I need to make sure. Just mention that, like Willow has a very sacred connection to dating and love and connection.
So yeah, it's if you're doing this spell, definitely don't do it lightly.
Yeah, no, because there's a whole host of deities and spirits connected to that tree, along with the spirit of the tree itself.
The tree itself,
that will take you seriously.
Exactly. So
and the roses will take you seriously. And all the deities of love and shit that are associated with roses will take it seriously. You're playing with a lot of take it seriously items.
Yes. And of course, as we mentioned in the last love episode that we did, love can be very euphoric, but also very intense and dark.
Yes.
So definitely make sure that you are very explicit with your intentions if you choose to do this spell, because I wouldn't be surprised if they manifest in very magnanimous ways. That's all that I will say.
Yes. It's like when I did my love spell that I did to find a partner with Nino Roja, Santa Morte's red dress. And that was like she delivers fast, she delivers hard, and she delivers spot. So like, I had to really be like, am I really ready for a committed relationship again? Because she is gonna fucking deliver. And sure enough, 7 days later, she fucking delivered. Like, And I had determined that I was ready, but I knew that she's a force that would answer super quick. And so any type of thing involving that. But if you are ready for that and you're tired of dating whilst witchy, especially because you're a Samantha amongst the sea of Durwoods, then go hang out with your fellow Willow Tree. All right. Now it is time to return to the always gray and misty and apparently always wintry trails of Greendale to find Sabrina Spellman and her aunts Hilda and Zelda, her cousin Ambrose, no longer her familiar Salem, he just kind of scampered, Susie and their spooky ancestor, pilgrim, frontiersman woman, and Roz and her con, and Kinkle and Co, and the Weird Sisters, and everybody fucking else for the chilling adventures of Sabrina, for the returned man. So Tommy is back. Tommy Kinkle is back in the mines, and he doesn't have an appetite. Father Blackwood finally lets Ambrose come to the Witches' Academy. Agatha becomes sick, and after she was brought back to life, so it was Agatha. Okay. And she's like hacking up the gravel from the Cane graveyard, and Sabrina is like, oh, where's Tommy? And Roz comes up to her and is like, hey girl, I had a vision. Tommy Kinkle was like in this fog and there was a baby crying, and she's like, but I didn't make sense of it. And Sabrina's like, oh my god, let's go like sneak over and talk to Tommy, and you can like touch him and do psychometry. And she's like, I can do that. And Sabrina's like, yeah, sure. And I'm just like, how does this girl randomly know psychometry? Is right. Like, if I were Roz, I would be like, how do you know that this is a thing? Right. Like, but whatever, density. But not so much, because while she is like tapping into Tommy, Roz connects and like sees him in the fog once again, baby crying, he's confused, and then this like naked crone hag with a noose around her neck, Sabrina creature, comes up to Roz and is like, hey, did you find Tommy? And she's like, ah. And then she's like, what's up with Brina? Because everyone's still calling her fucking Brina. Sabrina just makes a mess of shit. She just can't help it. That's just kind of her running theme.
That's what she loves to do.
Yeah. Hilda had a beautiful moment with Susie, in which she defended them from in the closet case bullies from the high school jocks who were making out in the cave earlier, in episode 1 or whatever. That was
a beautiful scene.
It was. Sabrina went into limbo with the help of Miss Wardwell to go find Tommy, because she's like, I'm going to find Tommy's soul in limbo and bring him back, and I'm going to make it right, blah, 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 doopy-doo. And she gets in there, she finds Tommy, and before that happens, though, she finds her mom wandering all lost and confused in mortal limbo, and she's like, oh my god.
But everyone else is naked, but her mom is not.
Right, and Tommy's not naked either.
Not naked, yeah. Everyone that she personally knows is clothed, but all of the other people in limbo are naked.
Yeah. Yeah.
We thought that was weird.
Yeah, I wanted to see Tommy naked. So.
Exactly. I wouldn't have minded seeing her mom naked.
Yeah, her mom's pretty.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we both just got cheated.
We did.
Out of eye candy. And this is Netflix, and it's not like they don't show sex and shit on the show, and nudity on the show. Like, partial nudity anyway. So, like, what the fuck? We could have had a naked Tommy.
So rude.
Just doesn't make any sense that if everyone else is naked in limbo, that, like, Sabrina's mom and Tommy are clothed. Exactly. Like, I mean, with Tommy, maybe you could be like, well, Tommy wasn't there long enough for his mortal clothes to disintegrate. But, like, Sabrina's mom's been there for, like, 16 years. Exactly. Like, she should be running free. She should at least be able to bra and panties. Anyway.
She had her man put a spell on her clothes before she died.
Right. She was like, I heard about the rapture, and you get beamed up, and your clothes are left behind. You're just flying buck naked up in the sky. Don't let that happen to me. Nah, Edward, you're a witch. You fucking make sure that, like, my clothes stay on my body even after I die. Like, and maybe that's why she's in limbo, because the clothes bind her to get to each other, so she can't actually cross over, because she won't let go of her mortal garments, her mortal coverings. From her mortal embarrassment and shame. Sabrina tells Harvey that she's a witch because they have to go kill zombie Tommy, because he's just like a reverend husk shell. And of course that didn't go well, because as soon as she told him, she broke the spell that she had put on him to make him forget she told him the first time. So then he remembered that she told him, and then he was like, you fucking cast a spell on me. So then that becomes a whole exhausting fucking thing. The good news is, and I will ruin this for Evan because I don't give a shit, Sabrina and Harvey do not get back together. We don't have to be subjected to this crap anymore.
Yay! That's a good spoiler.
Right? It's like, this is it. This is done. I mean, we're going to have to put up a little bit more of that touch and go, as you saw in the Christmas episode. Like, but that was really like a goodbye, girl. And she was like, oh shit, oop, oop, oop. Basically, we're catching up where we left off at the holidays. We're finally closing in on that gap. So, fall into that gap. Yeah, I will say her scene when she comes to the stairs and she's like crying, sobbing. That was good. Kudos to her.
Yeah.
Because that scene, like, I was like, I have cried like that over heartbreak. Like, I have like gasping, can't breathe, fucking everything's done and dead, it's falling apart, fucking earth shattering sobs. Like, and you don't often see that in things because shows trying to make the crying pretty or like aesthetic. You don't get just like the bleeding fucking shakeout freakouts like of what it's like in real life, where neighbors are like, do I call the fucking cops? Because it's just like you screaming and howling and fucking the worst agony of heartbreak. So kudos to them on that. I'm so glad the insufferability on their relationship is done. But
I did think it was kind of funny that like she comes home and what she says is like, oh, Tommy's gone for good and Harvey and I are over, and clearly like her tears are like more about like the breakup than the dead person.
I know, but to be fair, that was not her brother.
That's true.
So, but stupidly, she did all of this and risked the entire balance of fucking everything for her love, her high school love. Like, that is, girl, you needed perspective.
Right.
Like, you need to be sent to a reform school. So, bye, girl. Like, that was just, Sabrina's a reckless witch. Don't be Sabrina Spellman. And even in the Melissa Joan Hart one from the 90s, like, or in the comics, the Archie comics, like, Sabrina's always making really selfish, stupid, well-intentioned, but always in the end self-serving, rule-breaking practices of witchcraft that often compromise other people. Now, of course, in the fucking ABC show, it would be hilarious situations of like people getting turned into something. Right. But like, it's still the same thing. She was just recklessly meddling and ruining in people's lives for her own benefit 9 times out of 10. Right. And she would use it under the guise of helping a friend or helping other people.
She is a meddler.
She is. Love you, Sabrina Spellman, and all your incarnations and incantations, but you're a meddler. That being said, looking forward to the next episode. Yes. The Witching Hour. So, whoop, 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 whoop. And apparently Roz and Susie Woozy are going to confront Sabrina about being a witch. So we'll see how that goes. All right. And lastly, it is time for Witchy Media Review. And boy, do we have a fun one for this episode.
So this episode, we watched The Last Sacrifice, which came out in 2024. This is a documentary by Robert Russell that investigates the murder of Charles Walton in Lower Quinton, England. And what a perfect murder to discuss on this episode, because it took place on February 14th.
Yes,
it was a Valentine's Day murder.
Massacre, actually. Yes. It was a massacre all on its own.
Exactly. So
R.I.P.
Sorry, Charles. So it was released, the movie, not the murder, was released on Shudder on February 16th of this year. It examines how the crime influenced the folk horror genre, including The Wicker Man and so many other folk horror movies. Yes.
The Devil's Claw, or the Blood on Satan's Claw, excuse me. I'm a little high. Blood on Satan's Claw, what is it? Robin Redbreast, which was a BBC like horror serial, like dramatization. It was like a drama, BBC drama. Just so many amazing things in folk horror.
Oh yeah,
were influenced by this story.
Exactly. So Charles was found killed on Meon Hill, and in a manner representative of ritualistic killings.
Yes.
He had like a cross cut under his chest, and he was like impaled through the neck with his pitchfork.
Yes, and then he had his scythe through his eye, coming out through his mouth, and he was gruesomely dead.
Yes, very much. And he worked in the field, so he had all of these tools with him for his job. He did not return home one evening, and his niece, whom he lived with, got worried and kind of raised the alarm. He had arthritis really, really bad, so he typically would be inside around 4 p.m. So that he wouldn't have to be out in the cold. So a bunch of neighbors got together and found him killed in this very gruesome manner. It was investigated by Detective Fabian,
who was a very famous British. He was like the real Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Of like the modern times, and like he had his own TV show. Like he was like he had solved every case he had ever worked on. He had never not solved a case.
Yeah. Until this. But what happened was when he arrived at the town, villagers kind of closed ranks. They weren't really talking to him. They were kind of leading him on wild goose chases and things.
Very reminiscent of the Wicker Man.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely where a lot of that storyline comes from. And in the end, he was not able to make any charges in this case, and it is still unsolved.
Yes.
But of course, it was such an inspiration into films like The Wicker Man and later films such as Midsummer.
Yes. Any pagan. The Witches. Not the Roald Dahl, but The Witches, a Hammer film called The Witches.
Oh yes,
that was very much about a village in which everyone's witch. There's conspiracy, and it's definitely that whole idea of being in this place where suddenly modernity and everything is kind of out the window, and you're in this weird kind of flux of time, a liminal space, even as a community, where things aren't quite as it seems, and there's a lot of rumors of pagan practices that they were still doing in this village.
Yeah.
And there was one idea was that he was a witch because of the fact that 100 years earlier there was a woman who was killed in basically the exact same fashion, and she had been accused of being a witch by a neighbor, and he chased her down and killed her in exactly the same manner. And then 100 years later this happened. And it was a couple of days before where his landlord, his sheep, I believe it was, got sick.
Yeah.
And died or something like that. And then next thing you know, a couple days later, he is found dead. And in the exact same manner as this woman was. And there is this belief about pinning down witches with a pitchfork.
Yeah.
And using a scythe. Like, it was this whole fucking thing. And plus there were rumors that he just knew things. He knew when it was going to rain. He knew it was going to snow. He knew, if something was going to happen, if people were having troubles, he would have remedies for things. Like, there was always whispers apparently that he was a witch. Practiced pagan folk traditions of the UK. And so that was one theory, which never got proven or disproven. Now, his niece says she never knew him to be a witch. So no, she didn't believe in that sense that he was killed in regards to witchcraft. Now, the other theory, of course, was that the crops they had a bad crop season. I think it was the year before or something like that, on land that he tended. And so there's this idea that all the villagers, very Wicker Man style, came and sacrificed him to give blood to the land. And later down the road, a woman did come forward to law enforcement and make a statement that she had been involved in a pagan cult in this town and had taken part in this. And that they had drank from his blood and all this. Again, was not proven nor disproven. Fabian, the great detective, couldn't answer any of these questions. The other theory was money. But that didn't really come through either because he didn't appear to have been robbed. No. So there was just all these things going on that didn't make any sense. And, England, it's very fascinating because in telling the story, it interweaves all these British folk horror films and modern folk horror films. And it's very cinema is life is cinema, which is really interesting and very meta. And I love when they use cinema to help tell a documentary. I always love that. But it really goes into the weird, unique pagan underbelliness of the Isle of the UK and the Christian fear of pagans and also the Christian fear of Satan. And they talked with Janet Farr, she's in it, and she told some amazing fucking stories. They talked about Alex Sanders and Gerald Gardner, and really talked about the witch craze movement of Wicca in the 50s and 60s in the UK. And it's a really awesome documentary.
It was really good.
So definitely, what would you give it?
Scene. I think I would give it a full moon. I really enjoyed it.
I would agree. I would give it a full moon. I wouldn't, definitely, it was great, but I wouldn't give it a super full moon.
Yeah.
It wasn't
With a life-changing,
oh my God, type documentary. But you definitely want, if you're like looking for like a culty, pagan, witchcraft, true crime documentary to kill an hour and a half and learn something new, and maybe also make a list of films that maybe you haven't seen before, or you know, I've seen a few on the list, but then they were showing other shit that I've never seen before, so I was like, I'm gonna go watch this again and write these ones down so I can watch these movies. Yeah, definitely a full moon though, for sure.
For sure. The only reason I hesitated was that I was like, I almost wanted to give it less, but I couldn't actually think of anything that I disliked about it.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to determine too. I was like, is there something that would make me not give it a full moon? And I just really couldn't think of anything. It was really good. A perfect documentary. Just, again, not, oh my God, like mind blown, I'm going to watch it 1,000 times.
Right.
Like, I have documentaries on people and situations and things, so I have watched 1,000 times, and will continue to watch and rewatch. This, like I said, I'll probably watch it once more so I can write down the names of those movies and docu-dramas that I haven't seen before.
Right.
But then it'll probably be a hot minute before I ever watch it again.
Oh yeah.
You know.
I mean, I might like put it on while I'm doing dishes or something to like have a background noise.
Oh yeah,
because I know that I enjoy it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely, but a full moon, definitely 100% full moon. You need to watch this documentary. It's fucking amazing.
It's wonderful.
All right, so we hope you enjoyed the show.
Yes.
Again, we really can use the support. So if you like the show, if you like what you see, please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, hype, and share. And have a beautiful, wonderful new moon and bring about transformation, change, and may all that you are manifesting tonight come to fruition by the full moon light.
Yes.
And as always, witches, remember, broomsticks, not just for cleaning.